Hi, my name is Lilybeth. I am one of your peers for this semester. I'm sorry we weren't able to see each other in person, but I'm sure glad to be hearing your voices. Hopefully this upcoming semester will be a little bit different. For my topic, I want to talk about fast fashion. Hence the title of it, which is Unfolding the Truth Behind Fast Fashion. The co-founder of Fashion Revolution, Carrie Somers, once said, "The hidden and forgotten dwell in the shadows of our clothes." So why not unfold it and actually take a look at what's going on? You may be asking yourself, what is fast fashion? Well, the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines it as an approach to the design, creation, and marketing of clothing fashions that emphasizes making fashion trends quickly and cheaply available to consumers. In my own terms, I would describe fast fashion as trend-driven. If you are familiar with social media, you may be familiar with the platform Instagram, where influencers tend to promote these fast fashion industries by promoting the brand and only wearing the clothing once in every picture. They never wear the same clothing twice. It is also inexpensive, which is why so many classes can purchase it and widely available. You can go into a store such as H&M at the mall, or you can find it online on places like Shein. For this presentation, I want to focus on who fast fashion impacts. My first point is the environment, and the second is the workers who are actually making the clothing. Towards the end, I'll talk about what changes could be done, and that change includes changing consumer habits. To start off, what is the cost of fast fashion on the environment? Well, in this statement here, in a journal article written by Bick and other authors, approximately 90% of clothing sold in the United States is made with cotton or polyester. Polyester, a synthetic textile, is derived from oil, while cotton requires large amounts of water and pesticides to grow. According to the World Resources Institute, it takes 2,700 liters of water to make a single cotton shirt. Not only that, but Forbes says that polyester is the most commonly used fiber in our clothing. Yet, few people know that it takes 200 years for polyester to decompose. Did you know that 80 billion pieces of new clothing are purchased each year? Well, 85% of textile waste in the United States goes to landfills or is incinerated. The manufacturing of clothing mostly happens in countries like China and India that rely on coal-fueled power plants. Because of this, the UN Environment reports that about 8% of global emissions comes from this industry. This picture that you see on the right here is part of the published article from Schlossberg in the New York Times, and it's a depiction of what textile waste looks like. Now, we've just talked about what happens to most fast fashion clothing after it's made. What happens behind the scenes to the faces that are not seen in fast fashion? In 2020, the Clean Clothes Organization found that 93% of surveyed brands were not paying living wages. To go more in depth with what a living wage is it's a standard work week no more than 48 hours, enough to pay for basic necessities. These basic necessities include housing, water, food, clothing, education, and more. These companies were reported that workers worked 10 to 14 hours, and if they worked overtime, it could be 18 or more. But the labor behind or the label organization says that overtime is forced. If an employee can't keep up, they are either fined, punished, or even fired. This picture is also from the New York Times article, and again, it shows the faces that are not seen in fast fashion. If you look closely, most of the people, if not all of them, are women. And that's because companies tend to hire women, or young women who are students, and have no children so that they have no responsibilities outside of work. It is actually about 80% of fashion clothing makers are women. In an interview done with a fast fashion factory in Mexico in 2019, a woman by the name Olivia said, "I think that the main problem of the factory is that they just see us as objects that produce. They see us simply as cheap labor." In a journal article written in 2019, it was found that female workers in Bangladesh describe their experiences of violence in the workplace. This included physical and verbal abuse. Most of the times, their voices are not raised in fear out of losing their only source of income. So, what can we do as consumers to change its impacts, to change its results? Well, we as consumers can change our practices to bring awareness and bring a halt to this. One of the ways we can do this is by recycling. This can be done by going to places that purchase your old clothing, giving it to friends and family, or giving it to people who need it most. Another way is by simply altering it, sewing on new pieces, ripping a piece off of there. Make it into something new and form it into your own style. Also, do your research about supporting transparent brands. One of the way you can do that is by accessing the Fashion Transparency Index, which is a it's a report that publishes a review of some of the biggest global fashion brands that are ranked on their social and environmental practices. They look at what the company looks to do, what they're doing now, and also what they look to change in order to improve. Another way is by checking for third-party certifications, such as a fair trade, where these third-party certifications investigate the brands. And they look for greenwashing, which in my own terms, I would define as companies who pretend to be doing good and disclose a false information. I know it's been a lot of information so far. I hope that this was information that didn't overwhelm you, and this topic is meant to bring awareness towards accessible fast fashion and seeing its actual results and what it's doing, not only to the environment, but also to people. This here is my bibliography where you can access any of the information that I included. I hope you have a great rest of your semester, and thank you all for listening.